Let's say tomorrow the casinos are open in Vegas and you're ready to come back. What can you do that can keep you socially distanced from people? I made a list and I talked about them on a live stream the other day. I do them every day at 7:45 p.m. Las Vegas time. But what would you do and what could you do? It's not just all casinos in Las Vegas. It's not just all buffets, which may not even be running. It's not all gaming chips and touchscreen slot machines all the time. So what would you do if you came back to Vegas? Here's a big list of stuff that you could do to keep away from people and be socially distanced and still enjoy yourself. A lot of people say they're not coming back to Las Vegas to wait over an hour to get into a casino. I saw one of the first states with the first casinos opened where people were waiting an hour. But you got to remember, the magic of Las Vegas is that there's always something to do. If you don't want to do this thing, you can go do that. So without further ado, here are a bunch of things, maybe 15 or 16, I don't know. Things that you can do socially distance-wise in Las Vegas to have a good time whenever it does open. And before you guys don't listen, I need you to listen. It's not necessarily, I'm not saying it's open, but if it were, here's what you would do. My name is Steven. I'm not leaving Las Vegas. Like, share, subscribe. Hit the bell for future notifications. If you want to be in the credits, go over to Patreon. You see other stuff I don't post on the YouTubes. If you want to get some merchandise, those things all support the channel. Or just leave us a comment. Tell us if this list is something you would participate in, or if you are done with Vegas until it's 100% back to normal, which may never happen again, so we may never see you here again. And with that, here we go. Number one, obviously the Strip. All those amazing buildings on the Strip. What other place can you go anywhere where you can see, the Sphinx, an obelisk, the Eiffel Tower restaurant, one of the largest freestanding observation towers in the country, the Bellagio Lake, the Mirage Volcano. The list can go on. And if you didn't even walk into these buildings, you could still walk down the Strip. I did one on my channel where the Strip was deserted, but you could see the majestic kind of hugeness of these buildings. Definitely worth going and checking out the Strip from the outside and look in, and it's an amazing experience that you're going to want to take photos. You're going to want to say you did it at least just once, and a lot of that outside stuff on the Strip is going to make an appearance on this list. Okay, I think you're going to like this list, so just stick with me here. Number two, Fremont Street. You know, the original Fremont Street, the original downtown with the huge outdoor light show that goes after dusk. They just replaced it with like 4K LED panels, 300,000 watts of sound, give or take, and a lot of history. And you can go down to Fremont Street. And since there's going to be 20% of the people coming back for the first little while, it's going to be nice and spacious to walk around. You won't be crammed in together as much. Take that as a positive if you may. But Fremont Street, definitely worth going. Even if they're not going to have the live entertainment for a little bit, go see the light show. That's an amazing experience down on Fremont. The only place in Vegas where all the casinos kill their lights on a nightly basis is down on Fremont Street. Number three, the Venetian and the gondola rides. As I said in that live stream, when Sheldon Adelson was doing the Venetian back in the 90s, he asked his wife, where do you like more than ever, more than anywhere else? She said Venice, Italy. They went to Venice, took an old rudimentary Sony Mavica floppy disk camera. You put old-fashioned floppies in it. And for you young kids, the floppy is the save icon on your phone. It was how we used to save files and stuff before USB drives. They went back to Vegas, built the Venetian, filled it up with water, realized the water was the wrong color, drained everything, repainted it just to make it perfect. It's awesome. The gondolas are running. The Venetian said they will be. 4 people max in the gondolas. Definitely worth checking out the Venetian, the gondolas, and the Grand Canal shops. Number 4, the Eiffel Tower. You know, you go into the Paris Hotel and you notice the Eiffel Tower literally goes through the casino. That's pretty darn cool. The Eiffel Tower observation deck should be operating. I don't see why it wouldn't. You can socially distance up there by just having less people on the observation deck at a time. You also have the restaurant. Don't know what the restaurant's protocols are going to be, but the Eiffel Tower faces right across the street from the Bellagio. So you go up there, you see the Bellagio show from a level that most people don't if they just stay on street level. That's something you can socially distance in Vegas as well. Next up, we have the Bellagio itself. Now, the Bellagio is amazing. One of the nicest buildings on the Strip, or maybe even in the world as far as I'm concerned. Of course, the giant lake and water show outside the Bellagio is something that everybody should see. TripAdvisor said it was one of the best free attractions, or if not the best free attraction in all of North America on TripAdvisor's website for many, many years. The water show goes off every 15 minutes or so, unless it's windy like today, which is why I'm not outside. I'm inside doing this in the little studio here. And the Bellagio also has the atrium inside. It's got a really nice promenade full of shops, some high-end shopping. If you just want to window shop and looky-loo at the Tiffany's or the Rolex store, you have that option at the Bellagio. Of course, the Bellagio Fountain, good place to go. If you go up to the concierge bell desk inside, ask them, they'll give you a show schedule so you can know when everything is running at the Bellagio. Pretty cool, right? So you can actually know what show, what time. You can be there for the Beatles or you can be there for Michael Jackson, because some people are the Rolling Stones and some people are the Beatles, and there is no Rolling Stones, so I hope you're a Michael Jackson person if you're not a Beatles person. Okay, what do we have next? In the water theme, Steve Wynn brought a lot of water to Las Vegas. We do have the Mirage Volcano. Of course, the Mirage Volcano right across the street from where the Venetian and the Palazzo sit, right across the street from the White Castle. Somebody in the live stream said, don't forget to mention White Castle, so you can grab a White Castle, you can do the curbside service, you can watch the Mirage Volcano that goes off nightly with giant flames and fire, smells like pina coladas, so you don't smell the gas smell from the gas that goes off. And of course, that underwent a huge renovation. They had the drummer from the Grateful Dead travel all over the world, capture volcano sounds. He's a percussionist. He made those sounds. It's a great show over at the Mirage. What else do we have? One of my favorites, a question I get is, what's your favorite casino? The Caesars Forum. Now, the Forum shops are huge. You have the original Forum shops that opened up, I believe, in the late 90s. Then you have the expansion that happened in the early 2000s. 4 levels of shopping. I've taken some photos there that just blow my mind to this date, and I'm not even a huge photographer, but I was just getting the colors and the lights right. And it's some of the best architecture and replica architecture in the entire world. Now, people will complain it's a replica, but otherwise, what are you doing? Flying it to Italy right now these days to see all the real stuff? Maybe in the future, but I don't know many people that want to make that trip anytime soon. So the Forum shops, with their show in the back, the Atlantis show, with the giant saltwater aquariums, you can socially distance, all that kind of stuff without any issues. I got a little frog in my throat, don't I? Next up, we do have the Mob Museum. Now, this is easy. You just let less people in the museum, and you have security in museums. You just make sure people are enforcing being 6 feet apart and all that business. But the Mob Museum, technically, I think the name, if I'm not mistaken, is the National Museum for Law Enforcement and Crime, or something, organized crime, something to that effect. One of the top 250 museums in the United States, voted by TripAdvisor, again, huge authority website. It's in the old City Hall downtown. It's nice to see buildings repurposed. That was Oscar Goodman, Carolyn Goodman, our mayor's legacy. He wanted to see the old buildings not go away, but get reused for something positive. So the Mob Museum should be on your list. It's really awesome to go to. Other things you can do that are going to be socially distance acceptable, the Shark Reef at Mandalay Bay. If you don't know, the Mandalay Bay sounds a lot like Monterey Bay, doesn't it? That's a famous aquarium, very accredited in Northern California, but the Mandalay Bay has the Shark Reef, and it's kind of like going to Busch Gardens down in Florida, where you walk through the giant glass-domed tunnels. There's hammerhead sharks swimming past you, eels, all sorts of exotic aquatic life, and it's something you can do to get out of the heat and beat the heat, spend a few hours there, and stay 6 feet apart from people and just enjoy something that you can't get in your hometown that has a Vegas flair, even if it kind of exists in other places. Don't miss the Shark Reef at Mandalay Bay. If you're coming here looking to do something, and stop looking at the same 4 walls because you've been sheltered in place for 2 months straight. What else? Well, of course, the Neon Museum. If you don't know, the Neon Museum is the attempt to rescue all the old signs and the old history of Las Vegas. At one point, I read an article that said there was 14,000 miles of neon tubing in Las Vegas back in the 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s. Now it's all 4K digital screens. I wonder how many miles of little tiny LED lights there are in Las Vegas. No one will ever know that. But go down and see the Neon Museum. I believe you have to make an appointment still to this date, but they've made the signs beautiful. The latest edition, from what I understand, is actually the hard rock guitar. That was a GoFundMe where they didn't want to lose that, because that's 20 some odd years of Vegas history. And that's over at the Neon Museum. Open air, walk through it, go at night because it's a little bit cooler and everything is lit up. And it's why they call Vegas Glitter Gulch, because, you know, downtown Las Vegas used to glitter in the middle of the night when people would come over the mountains and see it for the first time. Now, next up, you have the Luxor. You gotta go in the Luxor. You gotta go see this giant building. It's an engineering marvel. It's actually, I believe, 1-by-1 scale of the actual pyramids in Egypt, or one of them at least. And you can put an airplane or 2 or 3, I don't know how many 747s. Tell me in the comments below if you know. You can put those inside tip to tip to tip in the Luxor. Of course, the Luxor light's beautiful. They just installed the LEDs. You can stand outside at night, look straight up, and see a light shining into the air that can be seen 100 miles away. When they first had that, it was so bright, apparently you could see it from space. I think they toned that Luxor light down a little bit, but the fact that you can see it well into California on a clear night, pretty amazing. That is if you're in an airplane. Next up, what else but the Stratosphere and the observation deck and the rides on top of the Stratosphere. Look, all they got to do is put less people in these attractions and you can go up and see the Stratosphere. Now, when people say less people, I'm going to wait. Are you going to wait? If there's less people going up, but there's less people that are here, you might not be waiting that long to see the Stratosphere. Everybody owes it to themselves to go see dusk in Las Vegas at night from the Stratosphere at least once. If you're not sure when sunset is, just ask your digital assistant on your phone, Siri or Google Assistant, or I would say Cortana, but let's be serious. There's no Cortana assistant because there's no Microsoft phone. I'm a nerd, what can I say? But you can ask your assistant what time is sunset in Las Vegas. It'll tell you, and then you just make your plan to be up there. Hey, bonus points if you want to go sit down at a 5-star restaurant. The Top of the World restaurant's considered one of the better ones in Las Vegas. And it rotates, so you get to see downtown, then the Strip, then everything else that doesn't matter, then downtown. I'm just kidding, but non-Las Vegas downtown or the Strip is not as interesting to look at, let's be honest there. What else? Well, Madame Tussauds, the wax museum over at the Venetian. It's a little bit more interactive in Las Vegas than a lot of places are. You can go in, take your pictures with the statues. I'm sure they're going to make sure you're distanced so you're not touching them. But Madame Tussauds is worth a look, and we back end that with the Marvel experience right across the street. They built a Marvel 3 or 4D or 10D, whatever experience, where the Treasure Island Pirate Show used to be, and that would be on this list if it hadn't gone the way of the dodo years and years ago. Definitely worth going to check out if you're a Marvel fan, if you want to see an interactive experience put on by Disney themselves, I believe. Lastly on this list, we have the Secret Garden at the Mirage. There you go, Secret Garden. Exotic animals, tigers in a natural habitat, socially distanced, open air, a beautiful experience. You could even take your kids to that one if you venture into Vegas with your kids. And that's my list. That right there is a bunch of stuff you can do in Vegas if it were to all open tomorrow, which I'm not saying it will, I'm not saying it is. I don't know when it's going to open, but when it does. If you want to stay 6 feet away just to be extra safe, if we are still working all the kinks out, those are things you can do. Hey, do you want to be in the credits of the video? Show me some support. Head over to Patreon where you guys can be in the credits. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. See us over on the Facebook group, Not Leaving Las Vegas. We'd love to have you guys over there. I do nightly live streams, 7:45. I'm working hard to keep the feels of Las Vegas alive for everybody. So I appreciate you watching, liking, sharing. This is the time of the video where I say 3, 2, 1, click, and because I'm controlling this with my phone today, I'm just going to go and pretend like I'm over here. No, I'm just going to say 3, 2, 1, and click!